The final farewell for Ann Widdecombe is taking place today at a location that carried enormous personal and spiritual significance for the former politician. Family members, close friends and invited guests have gathered at Buckfast Abbey in Devon, where Widdecombe regularly worshipped during her later years. The private funeral is being held as a Requiem Mass, reflecting the Roman Catholic faith that played such an important role in Widdecombe's life. Buckfast Abbey has confirmed that the service is taking place on Wednesday, August 12th, at her regular place of worship. But while the funeral service itself has now been confirmed, one question remains surrounded by privacy. What happens to Ann Widdecombe after the service, and where will she ultimately be laid to rest? The family has chosen to keep the most private details of the final farewell away from the public. There has been no widely released official announcement confirming the precise location or arrangements for Widdecombe's burial or cremation. That means reports suggesting a specific final resting place should be treated cautiously unless confirmed by her family or representatives. What is known is that today's ceremony is intended to be a deeply personal farewell rather than a large public event. Buckfast Abbey was a fitting choice because Widdecombe was not simply a visitor there. She was a regular worshipper, attending Sunday Mass as well as important services during Holy Week and Easter. The Benedictine community remembered her as a woman of profound faith and described her as a kind and warm presence within the worshiping community. That connection makes today's service particularly emotional. Inside the Abbey, those closest to Widdecombe are expected to remember the woman behind the political headlines, the woman whose Catholic faith influenced many of the positions she took throughout her public life. The service includes a homily from the RT Rev. David Charlesworth, Abbot of Buckfast, according to published funeral details. The family has deliberately kept the guest list private. Invitations were distributed for the private ceremony, and the public has been asked not to attend. A larger public memorial is expected later this year, giving members of the public and many of Widdecombe's former colleagues an opportunity to pay their respects. That later memorial could become the much larger public celebration of her extraordinary life. For today's service, however, the emphasis is very different. There are no public crowds surrounding the Abbey in the way there might be for a major state funeral. There is also no expectation of a public procession. The family's decision reflects a desire to protect the privacy of those grieving while still acknowledging the enormous public affection Widdecombe inspired throughout her career. Tributes have already demonstrated just how wide her influence was. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage described Widdecombe as an absolute force of nature, remembering her as a formidable personality and a fiercely loyal political ally. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch also paid tribute, highlighting Widdecombe's strong convictions and the importance of her faith in shaping her political life. Other political figures, broadcasters, and former colleagues have similarly remembered her distinctive personality and determination. Widdecombe was never an ordinary political figure. She served as a Conservative MP for more than 2 decades, represented Maidstone and later Maidstone and the Weald, and held ministerial positions during John Major's government. After leaving the House of Commons in 2010, she remained a familiar public figure through television appearances, political commentary, and her involvement with the Brexit Party and later Reform UK. Her television career introduced her to an entirely different audience. She became particularly recognizable through Strictly Come Dancing, where her humorous performances with Anton Dubik showed a side of her personality that was often hidden behind the serious political image. But for those who knew her personally, politics and television were only parts of the story. Her faith remained central. That is why Buckfast Abbey feels so significant today. The same place where she once attended Mass privately is now the setting where people closest to her are saying goodbye. The circumstances surrounding her death have also made the farewell especially painful. Widdecombe died in July at the age of 78 in circumstances that shocked the country. A man has been charged with her murder, and the case remains before the courts. Today's funeral, however, is not about the investigation. It is about remembering Anne. Those inside Buckfast Abbey are likely to remember her as a daughter, sister, aunt, friend, political colleague, writer, broadcaster, and woman of faith. Widdecombe never married and had no children. She is survived by a niece and 2 nephews. For her family, the private service offers something the public spotlight never could: a moment to grieve without cameras, headlines, or political debate. And then comes the question of her final resting place. At present, the family's precise burial or cremation arrangements have not been publicly confirmed. The absence of those details should not be mistaken for uncertainty surrounding today's funeral. The Requiem Mass at Buckfast Abbey is confirmed. the private arrangements that follow remain the family's business. That privacy may continue even after the service. The family has already made clear that a public memorial will take place later this year, creating another opportunity for supporters and members of the public to celebrate Widdecombe's life. So today marks the first major goodbye, but perhaps not the last public remembrance. As the doors of Buckfast Abbey close and the Requiem Mass begins, those closest to Ann Widdecombe will have the opportunity to remember a woman who spent decades refusing to compromise her convictions. Her political career was controversial at times. Her opinions were often fiercely debated. But few could deny her determination, individuality, and extraordinary ability to command attention. And in the end, it is fitting that her farewell is taking place somewhere she regarded as a place of prayer and peace. The details of what happens after today's service may remain private for now. Her final resting place has not been officially disclosed, and speculation should not replace confirmation. But the message from Buckfast Abbey and those who knew her is already clear. Ann Widdecombe's final journey has begun, not with a grand public spectacle, but with a quiet Catholic farewell in a place that meant so much to her. And later this year, when the public memorial takes place, Britain will have another chance to say goodbye to one of the country's most distinctive political figures.